It feels weird to film from this angle, but I wanted this angle so that it's a straight on angle. I'm facing more towards the window, so more light is hopefully hitting me. I'm also filming this on my iPhone 14 instead of my iPhone 17. So if the quality looks different, that is why. I just wanted to go ahead and film this video. So here we are. Maybe I should film this with the back camera. No, it's too late. I'm already here. I'm not gonna turn the camera around. I'm not gonna lie. So let's go. Hi, hello, welcome back, Lucas Besties, to another video. As you can see by today's title, we are going to be talking about some 5-star predictions that I have. Basically, 10 books that I pulled off my shelves that I think are going to be 5 stars. Um, some of these are like hard set in stone, like 9 times out of 10 are going to be a 5 star, and if they're not a 5 star, they're a little bit of a letdown. And then there are some of these that I've just heard so many good things about them, and they sound so perfectly me that I think they're going to be 5 stars. So let's hop right into this. I don't want to keep you here too long. I tend to yap about books. Also, just to let you know, I pretty much know nothing about like half of these because they're the first book in the series, while other books are the continuation of the series. So I expect them to be 5 stars. So if I don't give a synopsis, that means I know like little to nothing about it. The first book I have is Strange the Dreamer by Lonnie Taylor. This is the first book in a duology by Lonnie Taylor. I know literally nothing about this. I think our main character's name is Strange, but don't don't quote me on that. I did start this a couple years ago, but I never finished it. And I really only read like the first couple of chapters before I was like, okay, I gotta be in a different mindset for that, and I put it down. I have since bought it, put it on my 2026 CBR because I'm just that confident I'm gonna like it. So I really want to get around to this actually really soon. Hopefully, I can place the audiobook on hold because I have been loving immersive reading lately, and I did not know that it could hit as good as it does, but it does. Um, I know this is like lyrical fantasy. It's YA, and that's literally all I know about it. I know nothing else, but from the way people have described it, it sounds like something that I could really, really enjoy because I really like Stephanie Garber's lyrical, not lyrical, but her style of writing is so whimsy. It's so perfect. Like I'm reading Carval right now, and just the whimsiness of it all just feels you know? So that's how I feel. That's how I think I'm gonna feel when it comes to Strange the Dreamer by Lana Taylor. I do want to get into her Daughter of Smoke and Bone series as well, but I thought I would start here because I feel like this one is more loved and talked about than that one. So I'm actually really excited for this. I don't know. I don't know when I'm gonna get to this, but I really want to get to it soon. Like I've been eyeing this on my shelf. Like I need to read this. So hopefully we can read it sometime between now and like August. The next book that I have for you is actually me and my two best friends buddy read for the month of June. This is Phantasma by Kaylee Smith. This is the first book in the trilogy. I don't think the trilogy has a name or anything. The only thing I know about this book is trials. And if there's one thing about me, I am going to read a book that has trials in it. And listen, does that get boring sometimes? A little bit. So we have to change it up. But I don't read that many trials books, and all the books that have trials in them have been so different that I love every single one of them. I have heard nothing but good things about this one. I heard book two was a bit of a letdown, but I'm more focused on this one. This is on my romantasy bingo TBR. I don't think I put it on my 22-26. I thought about it. It was a contender for it. If it is, I'm so wrong and I'm so sorry and it is, but like I don't think it is. I know for sure it's on my romantasy bingo TBR by covers from Cassidy. So I'm super excited. I know this is a phantom, like he is a phantom or something like it's like a ghost or something like that. I don't know. But it sounds like it's gonna be so good. This is split into like different parts. So like night four. So it's kind of like Carval in that sense because Carval is split up by all the like little nights and stuff. But yeah, I literally know zero about this book besides the fact that it's trials, and I don't want to read. Like I have my read synopsis on it. I go into a lot of my books completely blind unless like I've seen so much like I talked about so much, but I try to ignore it and I try to push it from my mind and forget it so that way I can go in blind and form my own opinions on it without other biased people influencing me in my head. So I'm actually really excited about this when we picked it up. We strictly picked this up at Barnes because there were 3 copies. We were like, we're just gonna book that has 3 copies, and this had 3 copies, and we all have this on our radars for so long. So we were like, we're gonna read this, and so we picked it up. This next one, if it's not a 5 star, I just want everybody to know that I will not talk about it for 5 to 10 business days after finishing it if it is not a 5 star. I have seen some people rate this 5 stars, even better than Direbound, but then there are some people who have only given it 3.5 stars and they say it lulled and it was just boring and they're hoping book 3 is better. If me saying Direbound and not give the title away, it's Furybound by Samuel Sorensen. This is one of my like 3 most anticipated releases of the year. This is book 2 following Direbound, which was my second favorite book of 2025. Literally have a copy, my paperback copy right here, and then my deluxe edition to match this one's over there. I'm rereading it currently in order to read this. I was supposed to do a reread of it in May in order to read this, but then it just didn't work out, and I didn't want to read it with the way I was feeling like slumpish in May, so I didn't read it. But I'm reading it either this month or next month for sure because I cannot. I've seen so many reviews about this one, and I've seen so many mixed reviews. Like I said, people are gonna get 5 stars, people are gonna get like 3 stars. If you don't know what Direbound is about, Direbound is following Marion Cooper. She lives on the outskirts of town in the like slums of town when her sister goes missing and is kidnapped by the vampires. They're not called vampires, I forget what they're called, but they're vampire like creatures who have been kidnapping the kids in her area. And finally, her sister gets taken. So she decides to enlist in the military. And when she goes, she realizes that this is the year that you could possibly bond to a dire wolf if you wanted to. And that was never her intention. But when a dire wolf picks her, she is forced to go on these trials to learn how to bond with her dire wolf. And she goes through the training of it all and just all of it. And there are more things at play than she realized at the castle, and so she dives deeper into some politics, some stuff. Okay, and she gets involved. Okay, I fucking terrible synopsis. It really, really is. But that's literally the basis of the book. Like she dives into some political stuff that she's not supposed to be involved in, and finds out some secrets. And the ending of that book, the last like 50 to 100 pages of that book, was like yeah. And so this is the sequel to that. I heard that this picks up literally right where book 1 left off. So I'm super excited about that. But like I'm putting it off and I know I'm putting it off, but I don't want to do it like I have another book in this stack that I've been putting off for over a year. I don't want to do it like that. So I'm really hoping I can get to it within the next month or so. The next book that I have here is Butcher and Blackbird by Brandon Weaver. This is the first book in the Ruminous Love Trilogy. I know this is a serial unaliver romance. Um, yeah, it's a dark rom com, so it's supposed to be like romantic, but also it's a dark. It's supposed to be comedic, but also it's a dark romance. I know literally nothing about this book. I don't want to know anything about this book. I have the trigger warnings. I have. I was curious. And let me just say, I'm curious. Like reading that made me even more curious for what this book is actually going to involve with some of those figures. Because what do you mean? What do you mean? What do you mean? Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, there's a playlist for chapter by chapter. I may I may have listened to that, but I was planning on listening to the audiobook. I don't know, but I'm excited about this one. I do think it's going to be 5 stars. With the way I loved Lights Out, with the way I loved Insatiable, and Haunting Adeline, I truly believe this could be a 5 star. And I just don't know. but like I'm excited. The trigger warning lights got me excited, but also I just heard really phenomenal things about this. When I heard that this is the best in the series, and the series kind of goes downhill, but I'm still very glad to read all three books. It's just I've heard the most about this, and I believe it's on like 22 to 26. If it's not, I'm stupid. I don't know. I don't have my iPad in front of me to like double check myself. So it could just not be on there and I'm being an idiot. I digress. This is a chunky boy, not gonna lie. And this is Throne of Broken Gods by Amber Nicole. This is actually on my summer TBR because I pulled out a prompt from my TBR jar that said longest book on TBR, and I needed it to be a physical book. I was like, I don't want to read. I don't want to read The Way of Kings by Brandon Sanderson. That would be like the longest book I have on my TBR. That's 1,000 pages. That would be the longest book I have on my Goodreads shelf. And so I'm like, we're not doing that. And so I chose this one, which is, I'm trying to avoid spoilers. I'm really trying to avoid spoilers. I only look down. 761 pages. This would be the longest book that I would have ever read. Which is a wild thought in my head because I also have another chunky book on here, but it's not as long as this one. This is the second book in the Gods and Monsters series by Amber Nicole. I read the book of Azrael in a Bookmas video that I did last year, or I started it in a Bookmas video that I was doing last year. Finished it, gave it like a 4.75, but I need to go back and reread it. But I have high hopes on this one just based off of the things that happened in book one. Book two is going to involve, without spoilers, it's going to involve Sam Keel, our MMC, to bring Diana back, our FMC, from the brink of like total destruction. And I think that trope right there is going to be so good. It's going to be so good. I have no doubts about it. I really love Amy Nicole's writing. It just, yeah, it's so good. The writing style, the characters, the world in this is like a very big, expansive world that I feel like we've just gotten to in book one that I feel like might blow up in my face a little bit in book two, but that makes me all the more excited. This is like a 6 or 7 book planned series. Book five comes out later this year. So hopefully by that point we'll have a knowledge of whether it's going to be 6 or 7 books. But I cannot wait to read this. I'm also very glad this book is floppy. I don't have to like break the spine. It's not like stiff, and I can just like it'll just sit here like this in my hand when I read it. The next book I have is Foxglove by Adeline Grace. This is the second book following Belladonna by Adeline Grace, which is a gothic murder mystery fantasy book. The fantasy elements in that book are very, very light. It's literally just death. Okay. But in book one, you are following. I could never remember this girl's name for no matter for the life of me. Never Signa, right? Yes, Signa. Death has basically followed her whole life. Literally days after she was born, her parents threw a party, and everybody in the house except for her ended up dead. And she has gone through her string of guardians and things like that, and they have all died. And so she's on her last guardian who passes away, unfortunately. When she finds out that some estranged family that she has is willing to take her in until she turns 18 to try to be a lady, this, that, and the other. But when she gets to the house, she realizes that the lady of the house has recently died, and her daughter is also dying of the same thing, but they don't know exactly what until she starts seeing her ghost and realizes there is probably more at play here than what the family is realizing. And so she has to team up with Death, who she sees every single time he comes and takes a family member. She has to team up with him to figure out what happened to this lady. And let me just say, if I did not think that I would ever fall in love with death itself, but Belladonna taught me something new about myself, and I was shocked to say the least. This is like a upper YA book. I think she's like 16. I think it's like 17 actually. and Belladonna. This is like an upper YA book, but I'm super excited to get into this one because I think based off the ending of book one, we're going to be following like fate or something. I don't want to give too much away, but we're going to be following fate. I think it is, and that has me intrigued so badly. Like I want to get to this. I've been putting it off a little bit, but I think it's because I want to read this again in the fall. So I've been putting it off a little bit. But if it were to get pulled for a prompt for my TBR jar for fall, or if it gets pulled out of my series jar that I now have created, I will read it. So we'll see when this gets read, but I'm really hoping it'll be fall and I can finish off the trilogy. The next one is also very chalky, and that is City of Twisted Sinners by Kayla Edwards. This is the second book in the House of Devil series by Kayla Edwards. This is a urban fantasy, urban romantasy book. This was so good. I really enjoyed City of Gods and Monsters. Yeah, City of Gods and Monsters by Kayla Edwards is the first book. In that book, you are following Lorraine. She is a human in this world filled with magical beings. You have fairies, vampires, werewolves, uh, what are they called? Dark Slayers, whatever they're called, Dark Slayers. You have every magical being you could probably think of in this city, and she is a human. When one day Dorian Castle gets a bounty to hunt her down and bring her to these people. And when he finds her, he's like, "You're just a regular human. I don't know why they have sent me after you, but I'm going to protect you so we can, and I'm going to help you get to the bottom of why people are after you in the first place." And so they embark on this journey of trying to find out what's so special about Lorraine that all of these people are out here after her for so much money. Um, and the romance ensues, the found family that ensues, all of it. I did cry during book one. Twice. Not once, but twice. I don't know how someone can do that, but I did. I cried about 400 pages in, and then, like, towards the ending of the book, I cried once again. Dorian. I mean, not Dorian. Darian. Goodness gracious. Darian Castle. That man is so fun. I don't care if he's fictional. If he were real, I would find a way to make him mine. Because there's no way he exists. If I was being honest, he might be my number one book boyfriend. And I've read a lot of romantasy. Like I cannot lie, I've read a lot of romantasy. So for me to put him at number one says a lot about him as a person, him as a fictional being and character, all of the above. Yeah. And so this book is kind of following the after effects of that one after we find out what's so special with Lorraine, Darian, and Lorraine's relationship developing more. So I'm super excited. I also have the audiobook on hold for this. I could come in. I think I'm like fourth in line for this, so it'll be a little bit of a longer wait, which is fine with me. I don't need all my audiobooks to come in at one time. So this will be fine for me to wait on. I'm actually super excited to get to this. I have created an annotation system for it, so that way when I get it, I will be annotating it probably. Um, or at least tabbing it. Because I low key want to start tabbing my books on the first read through. I typically don't all the time, but I'm starting to enjoy having that engagement with it, of tabbing it and occasionally like underlining or writing things in it. I do write things occasionally in my books while reading them already. So yeah, I'm just so ready for this. I've been putting it off a little bit, but I reread book one back in December or November of last year, and it's time to read this. There are four books out. I think this is another like 5, 6 book series. It's currently getting traditionally published, so I probably won't see book five until sometime next year in 2027, which is fine. That gives me time to catch up. I don't mind being caught up because that just means I can reread it if I really want to. I just realized that most of these books are sequels that I just have 5-star predictions for. And I'm actually technically missing a sequel that should be in here. I'm actually missing a couple sequels, but I digress. The next book I have is Celestial Monsters by Aiden Thomas. It's the second book following the Zenberg Trials. yeah, the Sunbearer Trials, which I read in May. I'm about to put the audiobook on hold on Libby. I'm actually super glad to get to this. With the way book one ended, I shit's about to hit the fan real hard. This is a YA fantasy where you are following Teo, who is a semi-deals in this world, and every 10 years the Sunbearer Trials take place. There are like 8 people chosen, and whoever loses is sacrificed to Soul. You gotta make a sacrifice to Soul every 10 years to keep the world in the light and things like that. And so Teo does not think he is going to be chosen to compete in the Sunbear Trials, but lo and behold, he does get chosen. And we follow him and his friends through the trials as they make it through the trials to make sure that he can survive and live on and see another day. But at the end of these trials, and let me just say, there is a little bit of a small like romance in here, but the queerness of this book, the topics handled in this book, the representation in this book, so well written by Aiden Thomas. I love it. One of my favorites by Aiden Thomas. I have also read Cemetery Wars, which I need to do a reread of because book two to that comes out later this year, which I'm also excited for. That's another one of my most anticipated releases of this year is that book. So need to hop on it. Need to hop on it. But this is my main priority at the moment is finishing off this duology first. I want to try to get to it this summer in the next few months. Because I'm just so excited. I just Teo. Teo. We have like I said, we have a lot of representation in this book. We have gender fluid. I think you have gender fluid. I'm not really sure. I know you have non-binary for sure. You have trans. You have a deaf character. You have a lesbian. I think she's lesbian. Don't quote me on that. There's just so many characters and so much representation. 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 Yeah, that word. I'm excited about this nonetheless. I have not read the synopsis of this book, so I don't know what's gonna happen. But I do think this is dual POV with one character from book two that we never got a POV. I mean, book one we never got a POV from. So that makes me excited. The next book I have is one that I've been low-key thinking about putting off because but the next two books aren't even out in paperback yet, and I want these in paperback specifically. But I think I'm gonna start it anyways this fall because the third and final book comes out this fall, so it'd be like the perfect time to like go on and just read the series. I can borrow them from the library, and then once they finish coming out in paperback, I can get the rest of them. But that book is Immortal Dark by Tiger Grandma. This is a vampire academy setting. Another one that I know zilch about. Okay, it was the first book in the series. I know zilch about it. I do tend to not read the sequel synopsis also, but like I can give you a synopsis of book one, obviously. Not the point. I go on too many tangents in all of my videos, but this is, like I said, Vampire Academy book. Don't really know. That's all I know. Um, I don't read enough books by Black authors, and that's something that I want to work. And I've been trying to work on in 2026 and get through. Like, I really want to get into what's her name? What's her name? What's that Black romance author? If I think of her name while I'm editing, I'll put it on the screen. I'll look it up later. Kenny Ryan. I want to get into her works, but this is one that I've heard really good things about. Like I said, I don't really know anything about it. And it just feels like a book that I really like, that I would really enjoy. I love a good vampire book. I don't read enough of them, but I feel like I'm very picky with my vampire books. As someone who was a Wattpad girly when they were younger and still does read Wattpad to this day, not gonna lie, cannot lie to you. Vampires feel like a niche that I love. Same thing with like werewolves, another niche that like I just love and devour anytime I read a book with them in it. But I've heard really good things about it. I've heard people give this 5 stars. I've seen some people give it like 4 stars, but I predict a 5 star. I don't know how true that's going to be, but yeah, I I've seen the author promote her books on TikTok as well. So that also just makes me really excited. So I'm hoping to get to this soon. Actually, I'm hoping to get to all of these soon, actually, like within the next 3 months. But I highly doubt that because I'm such a mood reader that I never know what I'm going to pick up. But I digress. Ooh, Chloe Gong. blurb this. I think that's cool. And there's a bunch of reviews in the front too. Ooh, Nia Davenport, the author of the Blood Gift Duology. Yeah. Yeah, so that makes me more excited because I read these two by Chloe Gong and really loved them. So if she's read this and loved it, perfection. It is embarrassing the amount of time that I have put this book off. This book was my most anticipated release of 2025, and I have yet to read it. It's 2026. This book has been out for over a year. This book has been out for like a year and 3 months to be exact, and I have yet to read it. The audiobook has been available on Libby, and I started it, got through the prologue chapters, like the first like 5 chapters, and then put it down because I was like, I don't know, I'm not in the mood for this. And I really gotta be in the mood for this. And that's Housebound by Trisha Dion. This was my most anticipated release of last year, and I have yet to read it. Okay, listen, I don't know what is wrong with me. I don't know what is wrong with me. I think it's the fact that there's no release date for book 4. We don't even have a title for book 4. We have heard not a single inch about book 4, and that's driving me up the freaking wall. And this book is gonna hurt. It's gonna destroy me, and I don't want to be left on the cliffhanger that is this book. Okay, I can't lie. I don't want to be left on that cliffhanger. I really don't. I really, really don't. And so that's part of the reason that I am putting this off because I don't want to, I don't want to know. I don't want to know how this goes. I don't want to know. I don't want to find out. I'm scared. I'm scared of this book. This book is chunky. It's 600 pages. And it's the longest out of all 3 so far, which makes sense. After everything that happened in book 2, I feel like we have a lot that we need to go through in this book to get to a somewhat more conclusion to things on certain things. Like there are just answers that I need answered that I feel like will be in this humongous book, right? But I'm also just terrified of this book in general, okay? After the way things went in book 2, Tracy Dion, you owe me something. The way after finishing book 2 was criminal. And I put off this book, and I'm going to continue to do so for a little bit longer. I'm not going to lie. Like, I don't want to read this anytime soon. I'm just terrified of it. It terrifies me, but I have a feeling it's going to be 5 stars. Book 1, 4.5. Book 2, 5 stars. I think it's going to be 6 stars. Yeah, no, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what is wrong with me, but I've just been putting it off, and I've got to stop. I've got to put a stop to myself. And that right there, folks, are 10 5-star predictions that I have. And listen, if you have read any of these and you think I should stop putting them off, let me know. But if you don't, if you think if there's one you think I should prioritize over the other ones, also let me know because I need motivation to read some of these. I'm looking at you, Housebound, and I'm kind of low-key looking at you and Mortal Dark. Both of those I've been putting off for way too long. But I really need to get to this. I'm going to get to this month no matter what. It's my mission to actually read one of our book club books in the month that we're supposed to read in. I I'm scared. I'm nervy. I'm nervy. Cannot lie. I'm nervous as okay. I don't know what to do with myself. With some of these books, I just have such high expectations that if it lets me down, I will probably maybe cry. I've been so in tune with my own emotions lately that it's scary, but it's progress in me that I haven't seen in a long time. Now I want to talk about it. I'm going to think about it right now. Well, I will cry with the progress I have made of being in touch with my emotions, but I guess this is what this is about. Let me, okay. But this is the 5 predictions that I have. Okay, some of them there's no doubt in my head about. There's some doubts in my head about others, and then there are other ones that I'm scared of that I know are gonna be 5 stars. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. There's just a lot going on here, but that is the end of today's video. As always, down below in my Goodreads, Instagram, TikTok, and Fable for you to check out if you would like. I really need to start posting my like short form content video over here. I've been posting on TikTok like crazy since I discovered my book talk account again. Can't lie. I have been doing that, but I digress. We had a good time here. I talked a lot. I yapped a lot. So let's wrap this up. Have a great day, evening, night, morning, afternoon, and whatever part of the world you are having it. And I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye.